Welcome to the deep dive. We dig into a whole stack of sources to pull out those key bits of knowledge, getting you up to speed fast. Today, we're jumping into a city everyone has an image of, New York City. Now, maybe like a lot of people, you might picture, sky-high prices, maybe chaos, maybe even think it's a bit dangerous. But here's the thing, and this is where our sources give us a real plot twist, that picture. It often doesn't match the reality anymore. Loads of studies actually show New York is, believe it or not, one of the safest big cities in the U.S. Crime rates actually lower than before the pandemic. And the cost, well, you'd be surprised how much you can experience for free or, without spending a fortune.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're digging into. Yeah. Our mission today is to give you those surprising insights, some really useful local tips. We've pulled this from all sorts of places, advice from actual New Yorkers, guides to free stuff people miss, deep dives into the neighborhoods, the real hidden spots. We're going way beyond the usual tourist traps.
Okay, so get ready. We're peeling back the layers of the Big Apple here. This isn't just about facts and figures. It's about getting the feel of the real New York, maybe finding your own aha moments that change how you see it. All right, let's unpack this. Let's kick off with something that worries a lot of people. Safety. It makes sense, right? Yeah. First-time visitor, the city's huge, it's got all this energy. Our sources definitely say feeling a bit overwhelmed at first is, well, pretty normal. But what's really interesting is how different the idea of NYC safety is from the actual stats.
Exactly. I mean, the city definitely buzzes. There's no denying that. But the data, it paints a really clear picture. New York City's crime rates are actually lower than they were before 2020. That often catches people off guard, maybe because, old stories or movies stick in your head. It's a good example of how a city can change, even if how people see it takes longer to catch up. That being said, it is a massive city. So common sense, just being aware of your surroundings is always key. Like getting around reliable transport is a big one.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. You hear stories, right? People getting into unofficial cabs or something. How do you deal with that, say, when you land at the airport?
Right. That's a common one. Unlicensed drivers, especially at airports, yeah. They might try and tempt you with a cheap ride, sort of off the books. The key is just confidence, really.
Yeah.
A firm, polite, no thank you usually does the trick. They'll move on. Always, always stick to the official taxi stands or the marked rideshare spots or, the train or bus. It's about being informed, not like paranoid.
That makes sense. Practical stuff. What about just exploring, especially at night? It is the city that never sleeps, after all.
Yeah, and the good news there is for most visitors, staying safe at night is pretty straightforward. Think about it. The famous sites, the nightlife areas, most hotels, they're in really busy, well-lit parts of town. So if you're generally sticking to those areas, you'll likely feel quite secure. The usual advice applies, maybe even more so in a big city. Trust your gut. If a street feels weirdly empty or just uncomfortable, change your route. Grab a cab, hop on a rideshare. Easy. Which brings us to another thing our sources mentioned, those everyday little pitfalls. Maybe not crime, but other hazards.
Yeah, the sort of subtle city stuff. Our sources mentioned NYC can be ripe territory for scammers. What kind of things should you watch out for?
Okay, the main rule is be wary of anyone actively trying to sell you something on the street, especially near the big tourist spots. These aren't usually, dangerous people, but they might push things like free CDs or bracelets or maybe fake designer stuff, often at crazy prices. They kind of bank on you paying just to make the situation go away. So always agree on a price before you take anything. Once it's in your hand, they'll pressure you for money. And we have seen, unfortunately, a rise in pickpocketing since 2021, especially in those really dense crowds, like around Rockefeller Center at Christmas or Times Square anytime.
Right. So how do you protect yourself without feeling like you constantly have to watch your back?
It's mostly simple habits, really. Keep valuables, phone, wallet, and inside pockets if you can. Try not to have your phone out all the time on a packed subway.
Right.
Wear bags across your body, not just dangling off a shoulder. Fanny pack's actually pretty good for this. But, beyond potential crime, there's a safety tip that's surprisingly basic, but super important. Hydration and rest. New York involves a ton of walking, way more than people expect sometimes. Add summer heat to that, you can get exhausted, dehydrated, maybe even a bit disoriented, fast. It's not just about being tired. It can actually affect your well-being.
You're so right. The walking really sneaks up on you. And I remember seeing a surprising stat in our sources about ER visits.
Yes. This was fascinating, a real New York-specific nugget. Would you believe unintentional falls are the #1 reason people end up in the emergency room in NYC? And it's not just about being clumsy. It kind of speaks to the city's pace, right? The uneven sidewalks, maybe cobblestones, rushing for the subway, those long scares. It all adds up. It just underlines that being present, watching where you're going, that's maybe one of your best safety tools in this sort of urban dance.
So literally, watch your step.
Yeah.
And good shoes are non-negotiable. Got it. What about the subway? That's such a core NYC experience.
Yeah.
Any specific safety points there?
Absolutely. Awareness is key on the subway. Always stand back from the platform edge, common sense, but especially when it's crowded. If someone in your subway car is making you feel uneasy, just, don't hesitate. Get off at the next stop. Switch cars. Simple. And speaking from local experience, late at night, say after 1 a.m., the subway can feel a bit different. Trains are less frequent. Cars are emptier. A cab or ride share might just feel better than purely for peace of mind. Oh, and please, hold on to the pole. Seriously, you don't want to take a tumble if the train stops suddenly.
All sounds very sensible. Good advice that makes it feel less intimidating.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. From staying safe to saving money. We've all heard the stories. New York is crazy expensive. But our sources, packed with ways to see the city without, breaking the bank. Right, and this is where New York really shines, I think. If you connect it to the bigger picture, the city is just loaded with free or super affordable things to do. You really don't need a massive budget to see iconic stuff, soak up the street life, even experience world-class culture. For example, just timing your visit can save you a lot. The best times for lower prices and fewer crowds, usually midwinter, thinks January, February, or late spring, maybe late March through late April. These sort of off-peak times mean better hotel deals, sometimes cheaper Broadway tickets are easier to find, plus you get to experience the city more like a local, which is cool.
That's a great tip. Stretch the budget and get a more authentic feel. Nice. Beyond timing, what about specific free things? What are the must-dos?
Oh, there are tons. Central Park alone. You could spend days just exploring the gardens, the lakes, people watching. Sometimes there are free performances. It's huge. Walking the High Line is another definite favorite. It's not just a park. It's this amazing reuse project, right? An old elevated train line turned into this green walkway with art, plants.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Incredible views, too, right?
Exactly. Great city views from up there. And then the absolute classic freebie, the Staten Island Ferry.
Oh, the ferry. That's the one with the killer views, yeah.
That's the one. Runs 2 on 47. Gives you incredible close-up views of the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, the whole Manhattan skyline. And it costs nothing. $0. You do have to get off on the Staten Island side and then get back on to return. But honestly, it's a tiny hassle for such an iconic free ride.
Previews of Lady Liberty. Okay, that's definitely an aha moment for anyone on a budget. What about museums? Those usually cost a bit.
Right. But here's where a little planning goes a long way. Lots of the big-name museums, while they have standard admission, also have pay-what-you-wish times or totally free days or evenings. For instance, the museum at FLT, that's the Fashion Institute of Technology, always free, and they have cool fashion exhibits. The Museum of Natural History and the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, they both offer pay-what-you-wish for residents of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and for everyone else. MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, the Guggenheim, the Whitney, they all have specific free nights or days each month. So you just need to check their websites, plan a little, and you can see amazing art for free. It's about being smart with your schedule.
That is a total game changer for culture vultures.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, beyond parks and museums, any unique buildings or hidden spots we can just wander into for free?
Oh, absolutely. The city is a museum, architecturally speaking. You can walk into the lobby of the Chrysler Building. It's stunning. Art Deco, just soak it in. Or Grand Central Terminal, look up at the ceiling, try the Whispering Gallery near the Oyster Bar. It's this fun little acoustic trick. The 9/11 Memorial with the reflecting pools, the Survivor Tree, that's incredibly moving and completely free to visit the outdoor plaza. For some real hidden gems, our sources mention the Elevated Acre. It's like a secret garden up on a building in the financial district, a quiet little escape. You can even find a piece of the actual Berlin Wall in a place called Kowski Plaza down in Battery Park City. And I get this, there's apparently a small rainforest ecosystem inside the Ford Foundation building near the UN, open to the public for free.
A rainforest inside a building. Okay, that's definitely one of those unexpected aha moments. Love that. Speaking of unique things, how do we get a real feel for the different neighborhoods? That seems key to understanding the city's character.
You're spot on. Each neighborhood really is its own little world, showing off New York's amazing diversity. Like you wander through Chinatown, the shops, the food smells, the sounds. It's like instantly being somewhere else. A real testament to generations of culture. Then literally steps away, you're in Little Italy. Okay, it's smaller than it used to be, but it still has that charming kind of old school European feel, red sauce joints, street festivals sometimes.
It's wild how fast the vibe can shift, just block by block.
It really is. Go uptown to Harlem and you're immersed in this incredible African-American history and culture. It's not just the Apollo Theater, though that's iconic. It's the street life, the music pouring out of churches, the amazing soul food. It tells such a powerful story. Or think about Chelsea, known for all its contemporary art galleries, which are free to just browse. Great way to see cutting-edge art. And you might find the Chelsea flea market there, too, for vintage stuff. Shows how the city keeps reinventing itself.
And if you're looking for maybe more chic boutiques or that sophisticated vibe,
Then Soho is probably where you'd head. Those cobblestone streets, the amazing cast iron buildings, originally factories and warehouses, right? Now they're full of high-end shops and galleries. It's got this really distinct look, mixing history and luxury. What's cool is how each area developed its own social feel, shaped by immigrants or artists or industries over time. It creates this amazing mosaic. You can spend days just exploring one neighborhood and still feel like you've only seen a bit of it.
it really sounds like the best way to soak it all in is just to walk, which brings us back to needing those comfy shoes. But for longer distances, what's the smartest, most budget-friendly way to get around?
Walking is definitely number one for just experiencing the city up close.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much of Manhattan you can cover on foot just looking around. When walking's not practical, yeah, the NYC subway is absolutely the way to go. It's not just transport, it's like part of the city's heartbeat. It gets you almost everywhere. Pro tip, download the MTA app or just use the transit option on Google Maps or Apple Maps. They give you real-time train info, which is super helpful.
And paying, is it still those Metro cards people swipe?
You can still use Metro cards, but the easiest way now is OMNY. It's their contactless tap-to-pay system. Just tap your credit card or your phone at the turnstile. Each ride is a set price, but here's the brilliant part for visitors. If you use the same card or device multiple times in a week, Monday to Sunday, your fares automatically cap out after 12 rides. So after the 12th tap, every other ride that week is basically free. It works out to a fixed weekly price, which is a huge saving if you're using the subway a lot.
That cap sounds fantastic for anyone staying more than a couple of days. That's great. And if the subway isn't the best option, maybe late at night, like you said, what about ride shares or taxis?
Rideshare apps, Uber, Lyft, Revel is another one. They're definitely convenient. But yeah, they're generally not the cheapest option, especially when it's busy. Always good to have a couple of the apps on your phone so you can compare prices quickly before you book one. Taxis are still everywhere. Just look for the light on top. If it's lit up, they're free. Easy to hail one. There's even an app called Curb for hailing yellow cabs, though honestly, sometimes the other rideshares might be quicker, depending on where you are.
Wow, this has been such a great deep dive. Really takes us way beyond the usual New York cliches. So you should now have a ton of knowledge to confidently plan your own trip, whether it's your first time or you're going back. We've covered not just staying safe, but also unlocking all those amazing free experiences and really getting a feel for the different neighborhoods, maybe even finding those little secret spots most people miss.
Yeah, and if we zoom out for a second, it really shows how New York is just this place of endless discovery, always changing, always reinventing itself. It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? It raises a question for you, maybe. Armed with all this, what's one thing you're now really curious to discover, or maybe rediscover, in NYC? That hidden rainforest, a neighborhood you hadn't considered.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope this helps you go out and experience the magic, find your own aha moments, and feel the real pulse of New York City.
Yeah, thanks for being with us as we dug into all this. We really appreciate it. Until next time, keep exploring, keep seeking out those nuggets of knowledge.